Varshana Mataji, who's been trying to join us since morning, right?
Dandat pranam, Mataji.
That shows your enthusiasm for Krishna Katha. Good. So I was just thinking that, yeah. So Khyati, tell me when you want me to start.
Yeah, we can start, Mataji.
We can start now? Okay. So we'll start with the prayers and Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Thapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapt Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Okay, so welcome to our Bhakti Shastri session for San Mateo, which was originally from San Mateo, but we can blame it on the coronavirus that we have got participants from all over the place. So welcome to our call today.
Thank it. We have to thank it, not blame it.
Yeah, thank it. There you go. That's a good way of putting it. I'm violating the laws of Bhakti Vrksa. So that's what I was trying to blame. So anyway, so we kind of had started in the middle, or at least I had started in the middle with the book with most of you, and then we decided to go back and start from the first chapter. So we started first chapter last week, and anybody remembers what we did? You'll have to unmute yourself to tell me. What was the topic that we discussed? Anybody remember? Did we do anything?
It was about the types of meditation, right?
Yes.
The mantra meditation and
yes.
What meditation is, the benefits of it, and
yes. So we were talking about meditations, right?
Yes.
And then what was the conclusion? What type of meditation did we do?
I think concentrative and non-concentrative.
Chanting is the best meditation.
Yes, very good. So we came to the conclusion that chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is what is designated for us for this yuga, and so we did that, right? So we did chanting. We did a little bit of that. Right? We tried a few things, and we said that the main thing about the mind and how to control the mind is that during the mantra is to try to hear the mantra. Right? And not only will it keep your mind focused on the mantra, but it'll also enter through your ears, right? And then go into your heart, and it'll purify the heart of all the bad things that are there. And a few weeks ago, we had talked about the enemies of the mind. Anybody remember what are the enemies that we have of the mind?
The temptations.
There were 6 enemies of the mind.
Lust, anger, greed,
Attachment.
Attachment is sort of, yeah.
Lust, anger, greed. What is the
No.
Illusion, pride, and envy.
okay?
Right? Illusion, pride, and envy. So we talked about that these are enemies of the mind, and when we saw that some of them could be used in the service of the Lord, right? And then some just cannot be used. One that cannot be used, and that is envy, right? We can't use envy in the service of the Lord, because envy is that somebody else has got something and you are not happy with that and you want to do some damage there. So we don't use that in the service of the Lord. But other than that, so are there any questions or any thoughts or any reflections that come further to you before we go to the next topic, which is a very interesting topic again?
Mataji, I had a question regarding the envy and the jealousy, right? So we discussed that envy is something that where we try to stop the other person from, because we feel that they should not have what they have, right? So when the question
They should
comes,
not have what they have, and I want it.
yeah, and I want it, exactly.
Yeah.
So how does we be envious of Krishna, right? Because we very well know that we cannot take what Krishna has, and so how, I mean, even
Envy
in,
of the so envy of the Krishna in our case comes with the fact that Krishna is the supreme controller. We are mame vansho jivaloke. We are small parts and parcels of Krishna, right? We are parts and parcels of Krishna, and so we have that tendency to control, right? And so we are saying that, how come you are the controller, Krishna? So that's the premise, and that's the reason because of that we fall down here. So Krishna has wired us to do devotional service to him and serve him nicely, and then there's a reciprocation. And so some of the souls, they say that, why should we do that? Why do I have to serve Krishna? Why should he be controlling everything? Because we want to control. So you see the envy is coming because I want to control, and Krishna has the complete controlship of everything. So don't like that.
yeah, I see it in terms of controlling,
Yeah.
because when we want to control the fruits of our actions, so
Everything.
it, in a sense it is like really very subtle. So
Yeah. Control freaks. We are control freaks. See, and then if you're wanting to control, and from that control, so controlling itself is a desire, wanting to control is a desire, right?
yeah,
And when the desire is not fulfilled, what happens?
lust,
Anger. You get
then
angry.
You
from
get angry, right? Yeah. So kama, desire, comes first and is the elder brother, and he has a younger brother, which is called krodha.
anger.
So first comes the elder brother, and then you get krodha. And you just start noticing that. You start noticing that in your life. Whenever you're angry, just take back 2 steps and try to reason out that why am I angry? And there'll always be some desire behind it. Like you wanted somebody to do this way, you wanted somebody to not do this way, you wanted to achieve something. Like even when we are doing something simple like cooking a dosa, and the dosa doesn't come out, it sticks to the pan, and that's it. The anger starts coming then. Oh, I have to go to the office, and this dosa is sticking. I want you, like control. We want to control everything. Yeah. And yeah, so the sooner we give up these kind of desires which are based on the material, then the better it'll be for our own sake.
Yes.
Like that. Yeah.
Is there any way to avoid that envy and jealousy, Mataji?
Yeah. So one way is to hang around with non-envious people, and also very strictly give up the company of the envious. Because if you sit with them, and they will have that effect on you. And we talked about one very famous example from our Shastras last time. Somebody was a very innocent soul, was actually a devotee of the Lord, and sat for a few hours with the envious person and was completely transformed.
But that is not pragmatic, no, Mataji. When we go to office, we have to sit with all kinds of people, right? So, but what I'm saying is, I am getting that envy feeling that such and such a person is. I'm envious about them. So how do I get rid of that?
Yes. So what I'm just saying is that tendency to be envious, you acquire first and foremost, and I'll tell you ways on how to do that. But the first and foremost is that you will get that tendency to be envious either from previous samskaras, or you can also catch it from the environment. So the preventative thing is not to talk to them. And yes, we do go to office, but we don't go to office to talk, right? Right? In office, we're doing official work. And
Yes.
it's just that, sometimes it goes beyond that. And then we start criticizing that one person who's more successful and
Right.
the smart guy, the young, like that. And so we can just observe, the other person is doing it. And then there are so many ways that we can get out of that. And we have to get out of that because it's infectious. Mantra did that, right? Mantra got envious. She just thought that who was Mantra envious of?
That her son should sit on the throne.
No. The question is, who was Mantra envious of?
Was it Rama or Kaushalya?
See, go back to the definition of envy.
You want to control.
You want to have something and somebody else has it.
Yeah.
Right? So in this case, what did Mantra have?
She was the maid servant to Kaikeyi, and she thought that if Kaikeyi...
No, the question is, what did she have? No. The question is, what did she have? What did Mantra have?
She had a service for Kaikeyi, right?
Yes, and what was the good thing about it? She was Kaikeyi's servant, yes.
Devoted to Kaikeyi and was very attached to.
She was devoted to Kaikeyi, yeah. But what was the big deal about being Kaikeyi's servant?
So Kaikeyi was Dashrath really loved Kaikeyi.
Yeah. So she was the servant of the favorite queen of the king, right? So this Kaikeyi was a hunchback, right? And how people can be rude. So when she came with Kaikeyi as part of the retinue, like when they got the daughters married, they would send X number of ladies with them as well, right? So she came as part of that deal. And so Kaikeyi, others used to make fun of her because she was a hunchback, like that, right? And then slowly what she did was she served Kaikeyi very much, and then she became the favorite of Kaikeyi also. And then of course Kaikeyi was the favorite of the king. So then the other maidservants stopped making fun of her because then she got a nice position. And then she's now feeling threatened, right? Because as soon as Ramchandra goes on the throne, then Kaushalya will become the Rajmata. She will have no position at all. So that is where the envy is coming, for her. That was her reason of having the pep talk, giving the pep talk to Kekai, like that, right? So you see, so preventive is not to go and do that, right? And second, I will tell you that envy is the most difficult thing to conquer. It's the most difficult thing to conquer. And it kind of like, it squeezes the life air out of you. It just goes and hits your heart and squeezes your heart. Yes. It's a very, very painful thing to bear. I mean, it's horrible, right? So we have to put equal amount of hard efforts on our side to counteract that, right? And one is to, start taking the names of the Lord whenever this comes. And Khyati Matiji was telling us such a very nice example on one of the morning classes. She said that she was advising two people not to have negative thoughts and not to speak negative words. And she said, whenever you have this urge to speak negative words, you just think, you just chant the name of the Lord, like, just few times, take the name of the Lord. And then whatever you have to say, you say, whether good or bad. And so when they tried this remedy that Khyati, provided, they said after they took the name of the Lord, then they didn't want to do the bad thing. That's the purifying effect of the Lord. That is one thing. Second thing also is that try to see Krishna in it. Try to see Krishna in it. That okay. Number one, look at it from a spiritual perspective. That you are a soul in this body. That person is a soul in that body. And the only thing to be envious of is the body, because you can't see the soul, right? How beautiful that person's soul is, or how talented that person's soul is, we don't know. And, originally, all the souls are kind of like same, right? They're all spiritual, right? So when you start to address it from the scriptural perspective, one is that, what am I even doing, right? What am I being envious of? Like, this is a bag of bones and pus and mucus and blood. What is there to be envious about that, right? So address it from the Shastric perspective this way, that it's not worth being envious, and because it's all on the material plane. And the second thing is that look at it from the perspective of, if we could be envious of somebody's looks, somebody's intelligence, always remember that these are things that Krishna has given. And Krishna is magnanimous. He will give them to you also if you ask. So, but if we are envious, then it has a very deteriorating effect on us and on our devotional service. So whatever chances that you had of having it will also go away. Right? So that is again a negative thing to keep away. That why should I throw away all my chances of getting that good quality in me? Right? Also, again,
Mataji, I had a question. You said two things, right? How to keep away. One is to avoid that person, and another thing.
No,
what
avoid.
You said?
No, not avoid that person. No, like suppose you're envious of me. I'm not saying you avoid me, right? What I'm saying is that in your day-to-day life, when you're talking with other friends and colleagues and all that stuff, you will come across envious people. So avoid the company of such people, right? And I gave the example of our KK and Mantra, right? So Mantra was an envious person. KK spent a couple of hours, and rest is history, like that, right? So, and that is more like a preventative thing, so that we don't get into the habit of doing this. And the second I was saying was that look at it from a Shastric perspective. What is it that you are envious of? It's a material thing, not worth it. It'll have its own, it'll die.
That's a very good thing, Mataji.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll die its own death. And then the third thing is that, also understand from the Shastric perspective that why does that person have it and why don't you have it? Right? And then, so look at it from the karmic perspective, must have done some karma, right? So
Yes.
must have done some good karma to get that, right? And also, here's the funny thing that you can again utilize the Shastras. I mean, maybe we badly want it, but then sit down and think that what is going to happen if you get what you want. If you get what you want, then sometimes it's not good for us. Sometimes it's so many times we say in our lives, right? Why did I take that promotion? My life was better without it.
Very true.
Yeah, so sit down and analyze that, if I get this, is that what going to happen? Analyze your situation right now. What is it that is really bothering you? Because this is just the mind in teamship with Maya, which is doing all these kind of things to you, right?
Yeah.
Also, again, look at the negative side of it. That's these thought processes that I am going through are detrimental to my devotional service, and I have invested so much in my devotional service, right? I chant, I get up, I follow the 4 regulative principles and things like that. I have done so much. Is it really worth giving all that up? And this is my chance. And if you're envious, and when people are very, very envious and jealous and things like that, they might get a body which might not be a human body. Like when it comes to jealousy, who is the most jealous among all the animals? The scorpion.
Oh.
Right? After the female scorpion mates, she kills the man because she doesn't want him to go to any other woman. So when you think like that, right? If a consciousness becomes like that, right? I was saying that the kind of thoughts that you have, the mind takes to take a shape like that, and then the gross body is just put on top of the subtle body, and that's how you get animal bodies. That's why you become a tiger or a rat or a cat, like that, because of our tendencies to do that. Right? Mind is always thinking of doing, like Prabhupada was saying, that people like to do scuba diving. They want to go and swim in the water. If you still have a very strong desire to continue to swim in the water, you'll get a body of a fish, because that's what you are thinking all the time when you're swimming, like the strokes and water and temperature and this and that, and then drowning, like that. So that's also one thing that you can think about. And now here comes the most difficult thing to do, but it has its effect. And that is, if you are envious of someone, for whatever thing that you are envious of, for example, you are envious of, they sing very beautifully. So now you go to the temple and that person is singing. And on what day is that person singing? That day, then you are already feeling down in the dumps. Right? That day, Maya will arrange for that person to sing also. And now you're already feeling bad. Boss gave you a thing. And now this happens. Now, but you learn to recognize these things that are happening and go and appreciate. Appreciate the person. Appreciate the thing that you are envious of. Walk up to the person, no matter how hard it is, and fake it. In the beginning, fake it. Even if you're saying, like, I want to just squeeze your throat so that you never sing again. You go there. You go there and you say that you sing very beautifully. Because when you appreciate those things, those qualities come into you. And that was what started all this in the first place, isn't it? You wanted it.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to do, but you do it. Starting with fake it, as Vaisheshika Prabhu says, you fake it till you make it, right? So do it, do it, do it. It'll become a habit. And be very watchful. Be watchful. And I almost in every lecture, I start talking about thinking, feeling, willing, and acting, right? So try to introduce a gap and be observant of what you're doing. Be observant. Be in the present moment. Don't go back in and dig all other time. Like you see this person with some talent which you wanted really, and then now your mind goes back into that you feeling bad, and then the mind will go back into the past and it'll tell you all the other time this person behaved obnoxiously with you. Might not be related to the thing that you're envious of, but the mind is trying to gather ammunition for you so that you can go and fight and justify your thoughts like that.
But if you step back and see a little bit, so whatever, even if I'm envious of the other person, but whatever I have now, I feel that that's the best thing Krishna gave it to me, because what if I got that opportunity which I don't have? Maybe I will not be able to execute it. So this is the best thing Krishna gave it to me if I step back and think about it.
Exactly. And also, I mean, it's so funny that there's a very famous story of King Puranjana in Srimad Bhagavatam, and you see about his life with his wife, and he had a very loving wife. And so sometimes people might just get envious of the fact that, she has such a loving husband. They seem to be having a very nice life. My husband is not like that. He's not even attached to me. Mataji sometimes think like that. Or men can also think accordingly. But then think about what's going to happen at the time of death. If they are so lovey-dovey and they are so cozy, how difficult it will be for them. And what are they going to think about at the time of death? Each other. And they'll come back like that. Right? I mean, sometimes these kind of attachments and these kind of very good lives, are not very good for devotional service and for devotional, because it'll keep on bringing you back into the same cycle of birth and death again. And there's this very famous story of King Pururava in Srimad Bhagavatam. And so he falls in love with a Apsara, and then that Apsara, agrees to marry him. And then he spends, hundreds of years with her and is still not satisfied. But she had made him promise something. And there were a couple of promises. One was that she had 2 sheep with her, lambs with her. And she said, you have to take care of these lambs like they are my children. So you have to really take care of these lambs. And the second was that you're not supposed to see me naked without any clothes. So the king said, well, that's not a problem. For a king, it's a big deal to take care of lambs, I can arrange. And so she used to sleep. And when she used to go to sleep, the lambs would come. She would tie the lamb to the bedpost, And then the king was okay with that, because he was scared that I have to take care of the lambs, otherwise she will go away. And then so she's spending nicely. She was a nice wife, and she's spending life with her husband, and they are living in so-called bliss. And then Indra, of course, wants her back because he has other things, chores for her to do. And so she doesn't know what to do. So he then sends 2 other men. And what they do is they somehow manage to get inside the king's bedroom, and they take away the 2 lambs. And what they do is, as they are taking away the 2 lambs, somehow or the other, the lambs bleed. And as the lambs bleed, sorry, my wrong thing. She was saying that, the king should be wearing clothes all the time. She should not be able to see him without clothes. So that was fine. You switch off the lights and, everything is fine. But so when the king hears the lambs bleeding, he gets scared, and he's thinking like, oh, somebody's taking away the lamb. So he jumps out of the bed, and he didn't have clothes on. Right. And then Urvashi says, I'm going back. So she goes back. But this man was so attached to the wife. He's completely forlorn. And he sits down and he does tapasya. And his tapasya was, after that, I want to go to the same planet where my wife is. He lands in the heavenly planet, right? I mean, look at all the efforts that he did. Tapasya he did for what? To go back into and climb another portion of the Ferris wheel, right? going up and down, going up
Yeah.
and down like that. So sometimes having a very good relationship, very good marriage is not the best of the things. So we
Yes.
always have to try to have faith in the Lord. Start with faith in the Lord. That is where put your heart over there. Have faith in the Lord that whatever He has given me or not given me is for my good only.
Mm.
Right? If we have that faith in our heart, then life will be less
Yeah.
complicated for us, and it'll be easy for us to tolerate these urges of envy that come like a force. They come on us like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Very good
Yeah,
explanation.
you're welcome. Yeah.
Really helps me.
Envy is the biggest. Yeah, is the biggest.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mataji, how do we know whether the person is envious or not, or how to avoid his association? How do we know?
You from the talks. A fool is not discovered till he opens his mouth. Right? Yeah. So they say that so when you are there, so envious people will be talking in such a bad manner about others, right? For example, Vaishnav Prabhu always gives such a nice example that there is how you have these alumni uh, associations, and then you have, what is that called? Reunions, right? So you have high school reunions. So in the high school reunions, you are just there, and then you are talking to everybody. Hey, do you know where that person is? Do you know where Tom is? Where Harry is? Where Rajiv is? Where this one is? Where that one is? Like, and do you know about Dilip? Like, yeah, Dilip. Yeah, Dilip is now a high court judge. And the other person says, now get out of town. Dilip, I can't believe it. He was the worst student in our class. He's a judge. He's a judge in a high court. And they said, yeah, that's right. And then obviously the envy is coming now, because we wanted to be the judge, we wanted to exceed, and we didn't, despite all our A grades. And this person has succeeded in life. And then what does the envious person say? Yeah, but I don't think he gets paid for that. So, what kind of a conversation is that? You're saying he's not getting paid for that. Come on, appreciate the fact that he must have done something, right? And acknowledge our misjudgment on judging people just on the grades that they get. Maybe they had more on that. So you will know that. You will know by their talks very soon that they're envious. And then you can always say that I got a text message, I need to go. I'm getting a call, I have to be at that place. Just quietly come out of that. I was just talking to somebody the other day, yesterday actually, precisely, and she was mentioning that she comes. There's a person who's very envious and comes into her life and talks about all kinds of things, and then makes her upset, and then they have a showdown, and then that person won't talk to her for some time, and then later on again come and talk. Now this person's parents passed away very quickly, one after the other, and then the parents, she felt very bad. Obviously, even if one single parent goes away, you feel bad. What to talk about two going in succession like that? And so the good thing that came out of that, I should say that, was that this person had to leave the town and go to another place because of that. But I think she was living in the parents' place or whatever it was. She has to leave the town and go to the other place. So now this one has got the relief, right? The person who used to bother her is not there and talk all kinds of envious things. But then that other person went through some sort of a smashan vairagya. And because of this death, then you start thinking, about all these good things. And so she wrote a letter to her and then said that, I'm really very sorry, I've been bad to you and things like that. And then she was asking me that, what should I do? So I said, keep quiet. Krishna has arranged it for you. Why do you want to go back again and respond to her, right? And you respond to her and then she'll come back again into your life. So Krishna has arranged things for you. Let them go. Then she said, oh, but I thought the good manners meant that, if somebody is doing things like this to you and writing and apologizing and yes, it is good manners, but then there is a good cause and there is a great cause. If you're doing it to preserve your devotional service, then you can just be silent. Just be silent, and just don't go back, because she'll drag you back again into the rut. Because this is only smashan vairagya, short-lived, only as long few years or maybe a few months till your parents pass away like that. And then of course you can always tell her that if she's going through a guilt spree and maybe it's a genuine thing and all that stuff, point her to somebody else who's stronger than you, who won't get affected by, So that's why you have, again, Pastor Jacob says that you should collect mentors, Select mentors who will be able to help you, people who are advanced than you, who can take care of these things also. Just go and tell her about, you know what, I think this is good. You're going through this, and here's this wonderful person who can help you. So then you won't get affected by the envious, whatever she can do to you. Okay.
Mataji, sometimes I find it becomes difficult for me to understand that am I envious of that person? You see, I don't even know that I'm envious of somebody.
Very good question. Yeah, very good question. Because sometimes somebody has something and you wanted to have that thing, right? But so always examine your heart. Always examine your heart and your consciousness when you come across this, right? It could be that you wanted something and you didn't get it, but somebody else got it, and you are okay with that. It's just that you have this longing that, she has this. I wish I could also have that, right? But envy is that when you want to do something bad to that other person. That is a sign that, now you're getting envious.
Mataji,
Otherwise, it's just, sometimes people use the term sweet jealousy for that, right? It's a sweet jealousy. It's something you wanted, somebody else has it, but, there are no negative feelings inside you for that person. It's just that, they have it. I wish I had it. Right? So you're not feeling, bad in your heart. But envy really makes you feel bad. Something happens in your heart.
I don't remember ever in my life, Mataji, that if I examine myself, ever that I had any jealousy that she has or I don't have, or he has or I don't have.
Very good.
I
There
never
you go.
felt that.
Yes.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mataji, can I ask you something on related note? So if someone has something that you don't have it, but they don't value it, and they complain about why they have it, and you feel frustrated because of that, like what
tell them that, you don't have it, but I want it so badly. And tell them that, what you go through because of not having it, how much you want it, how much you long for that.
No, I meant to say that, you have it, see it as a blessing and not as a something that frustrates you every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Mataji, the second question related to that, you said that like the Krishna is a supreme controller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to control everything. And most of the time, if we see internally, our anger has the reason because we wanted to control particular outcome, and
Yes.
that we are feeling angry.
Yes.
So that is also that kind of envy, right? When we want to control it, and because that's why anger comes, right? So is it possible to, and we will see that for many things in our life, not only one particular thing. So is it possible that if we remove our envy for Krishna, the rest all just dissolves? So just focus
on
Krishna and just don't worry about.
Absolutely. And then it starts with surrender. Yeah. Because when you surrender,
it's impossible to remove all those small dots. Just work on the
exactly. Right. So we had talked about surrender, right? We had talked about limbs of surrender. Right. So surrender is that you are acknowledging that the other person is better than you. In whatever area. For example, when an army person, and Rashana Mataji comes from that background, her husband is in the army. So when a person surrenders in the army, then they are acknowledging that, you are a better warrior than I am. Right? So everywhere, whenever there's a surrender, you acknowledge. Right? Kids surrender. The policeman is after a convict, and the convict is running, and the police is chasing. And at one point in time, the convict runs out of gas. I mean, bodily gas, in the sense to be the capacity to run away. And the policeman able to catch it, and then at that time he might just say, okay, fine, I surrender, like that. So when you acknowledge, it also happens in the mafia, right? There's one person who he's God, so he knows now the police is more powerful than I am, so he surrenders and agrees to become the police's accomplice and say, okay, I'm going to tell you more about who all are there. So surrender involves that the first thing is that you're acknowledging defeat.
So prayers are the most powerful because that is also intertwined, right? Like surrendering to Krishna, but if I'm full with all these tendencies, it becomes difficult to surrender to Krishna.
Yes. And that exactly, and that is why we look for mercy of the devotees. And the mercy of a devotee can come to you in any form. The mercy of a devotee can come to you in the form of a devotee coming and touching you, in the form of you eating devotee's Mahaprasad. It can come to you in the form of a book the devotee wrote. And that is how Prabhupada's mercy is coming for so many of us, right? We didn't see Prabhupada in flesh and blood like that, right? But his books are there doing their job for us, yeah.
Mataji, I will post
Go ahead.
link now in the group chat so everyone can open the document.
You have given the document there? Okay, very good.
And I
while
already posted in the WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group? Okay, perfect. So while you are doing all that, I'd like to welcome all of you who are on the call. So there we have Kathy and Neeral. I have Sudevi Sakhi with Surat somewhere around close by. We have Vashana Malik from India. We have Chitra Mataji here from USA. We have Preeti Radhika from Sacramento area. We have our husband Rakesh Prabhu, and then joining us online we have got Ravi Prabhu, Divyangi, Apara Gorangi, and Bhagyashri Tamkane. Oh, I'm glad, Bhagyashri, you could make it to the call. Okay, so good. And please accept my obeisances, those of you who are on Facebook, as well as those of you who are here on Zoom. So if you can confirm that you got the book, then the 2 pages, then we will get going. But first we have to read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? We didn't read that today because we didn't have the morning class.
Yes.
What do you say, Kathy? Should we read that?
Yes, we can read, Mataji.
Okay. So we are reading, which chapter do you want to read? 8?
Yeah, we can read 8, Mataji.
Okay. So I'm bringing up chapter 8. And let me start sharing the screen with you. Chapter 8. And if you can confirm that you can see it. And
yes.
I'm missing Suyash Prabhu, who always determines the order. Will
yes,
you help? Will you help?
Prabhu is typing, yes.
Say that again?
Neeral Prabhu is typing the message.
Neeral Prabhu is doing that. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama.
Mataji, I sent out the order.
Who's first? Can you read it?
Yeah, so it is my turn to read, then my Prabhu, then Sudevi Mataji, then Varshana Mataji, Chitra Mataji, Radhika Mataji, Rakesh Prabhu, and then you are reading Mataji, Shraddha Mataji.
Then I'll read it. Okay, so I come after Rakesh Prabhu. Okay, good. So let's get...
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm not very familiar with Chitra Mataji's voice, so can we announce our names?
Okay, Chitra Mataji, can you say Hare Krishna so that Preeti Radhika is going to come?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
See, we never thought of these things. How powerful sound is. You can recognize people by the sound they emit. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to remove this and we're going to get going now.
Yeah. Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are the fruitive activities? What is the material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Who are the Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live in the body? O Madhusudana. And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Text 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature which is constantly changing is called Adhibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adidaiva, and I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Super Soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adi Yagya, the Lord of Sacrifice.
Who comes?
Next is Sudevi Mataji.
And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Hare Krishna. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Mataji, scroll it up.
Yeah, I'm just doing that. Here you go.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O path, is sure to reach me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 9. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable.
Did it go away somewhere? Did it move?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. It's went away someplace. Okay, let me just bring it up. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. Apologize for that short break. Chapter number 8. And we were
9.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling there. Here we go.
Who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Text 10. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life hair between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Persons who are learned in Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
Rakesh, 13, 14. And let me just mute myself, otherwise we'll have trouble here.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead and quit his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Thank you.
Here and be able to hear. Okay. And I should be on 15, right? After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together from the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state. And thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being. And with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
That which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode.
One more.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him.
Text 23. O best of the Bhartas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Text 24. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fairy god. In the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in north. Hare Krishna.
Text 25. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet but again comes back. According to Vedic opinion, text 26. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. But when one passes in darkness, he returns.
Preeti?
Oh, sorry, I had muted myself. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Hari Bol. So we did our chapter
Hari
of Bhagavad Gita for the day today. Okay, so any words that stuck you? And just give me a second here. I'm going to switch. I'm going to close that window. There's a lot of sun that's coming on my face. Can't see.
Mataji, can I go?
Devi?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
So, Mataji, a few days back, one devotee was discussing, she was saying that we are born in a lower class, but since we are doing study of the scriptures and trying to conduct ourselves as Brahmanas, our relatives are saying whether we will get will become a Brahmana after we take initiation and doing all these things. So the senior devotee said that as devotees we don't care whether anybody else treats us as Brahmanas or not. We are just happy the way we are, and whether anybody recognizes us or not, that doesn't matter. So in the last verse which we read today, 8.28, it says that when we do devotional service, we get the benefits of all, that is performing yajna and all the brahmanical things also, whatever brahmanas do, we get the benefit of all of that also. So I just got reminded by that.
Yeah, thank you for connecting that. Yeah, thank you for connecting that to the verse. Yeah. And the problem is that we are always looking for recognition from outside, because when recognition comes to us from outside, we feel happy. And the real happiness actually comes from inside you. Good point. Good point.
Yeah, I liked when Krishna says, right, devotees is never bewildered when there is like auspicious and inauspicious things. So devotee is beyond like the auspicious time of death or if there is anything. See, my devotee is never bewildered.
And why is he not bewildered? That's a good point. Why is he not bewildered?
Because if you're a devotee, you're surrendered to Krishna, right? And he's giving you all the benefits. So what is auspicious and inauspicious? You are even beyond that, right?
Yeah. So, and what are the others trying to do while trying to get out of this from during when the sun is in a northern hemisphere and it's morning and all that kind of stuff?
They're trying to control their fruits of action, right?
Yeah. So they're trying to control the destination where they go, right? Yeah. Where they go. So they want to be elevated to a higher planets, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where they go, where there's more opulence and things. Life is easy comparatively. But a devotee doesn't care. If a devotee says that no matter where I am, what the devotee is saying that I really don't care whether I go to heaven or hell. All that I'm asking you is if I can continue to do devotional service to you. Mm-hmm. Like that. Yeah, good point. Anything else?
And Mataji,
please carry on, Mataji. You say.
No problem, Mataji. You can say first, then I will add.
For one who always remember me without deviation, I am very easy to obtain, Mataji. It is,
there you go. Yeah, so you're giving us.
Yeah. Deviation is something which is very, I mean, this mind deviates so quickly, Mataji, that it's very difficult to control, Mataji. Very difficult. What should be done?
Krishna says, when Arjun also says the same thing in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balvatanam. Yes. Right? And then what does Krishna say? Through detachment and practice, right?
Mataji, if you really ask me, I personally feel I don't think I'm attached to anything, especially relations maybe, but not the things.
So at least we have won half the battle. Right? So you remember in that 6th chapter that we're doing on Tuesdays, Krishna talks about, right? So Krishna talks about a yogi, and as you elevate and reach the yoga rudha stage, then which is a higher level and almost perfection. So at that perfect stage, what happens is the person gets equanimity, equalness. Why? He sees everything equal because he sees Krishna in everything. Right? He sees the super soul in everything. So he will see a dog also, he'll see a cat also, he'll see a human being, Brahmana, non-Brahmana, Shudra, all that, he'll see all of them as the same. And there, if you notice that there are 2 verses, in one verse he says that person sees gold, pebbles, stones to be the same, right? And in the next verse he will say, he sees friends, foes, enemy, honest well-wishers, moderators, mediators, and pious, impious, like that. He sees all of them also the same. So you see why there are 2 separate verses like that? Because the first one is easier to do, right? You say that, okay, I have a Toyota car and somebody has a Tesla. So big deal. It's just a car. So you can come to that level of consciousness to think that, okay, they are one and the same thing. She is wearing a gold necklace. I'm wearing an artificial necklace. It doesn't matter. Gold and this are just made of, material things. And there is Krishna enters everything. But even if I'm wearing plastic, Krishna is there in the atom, all the atoms that make up that plastic piece. Krishna is there everywhere. Is there also there in that gold also. Like that. So you're able to philosophically look at it and understand that they're same and even live a life like that. I don't care for real jewelry like that, right? But in the next chapter next verse is the difficult one where they're saying they treat friends and enemy as the same. How can you treat friend and enemy as the same, right? The mind comes in between. She's my friend. He's my enemy. I need to take care of him like that. So that's what I'm saying. You have if you're not feeling any attachment or anything at all to these material objects, you have one shloka, you have already overcome. So you're way ahead of all of us, you know. And attachments can come, you know, it's so funny that again in the Bhagavatam we are reading from these days we are reading the Rishabh-dev's story, and he's giving teachings to his sons, 100 of them. And there towards the end, some of the things that he's talking about as instructions, Prabhupada says that these are instructions not only for his sons who were actually kings, they were Kshatriyas, they were kings. And he's saying, but these instructions are also for sannyasis. These instructions are also for sannyasis. And then it's like, no, so what can a sannyasi get attached to? A sannyasi is one who's already given up everything, right? He's left his family, he's left his home, he's left his bank balance, everything is there. All that he's doing is he's sitting in a temple. Well, you can get attached to your temple. You can get attached to your danda. Like my danda, I like the feel. My danda, I want my danda. So these attachments can come at a very, very later stage also. Like we had done the 9 stages of devotional service, right? Ado Shraddha tata sadhu sangha tata vajana kriyatha anartha nivarti syatra tata ruchista asakti, right? Like that. So we had nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava is love of God, and then prema, like that. So King Bharat actually was in the stage of bhava. And, you know, love of God is there in him, very strong. And King Bharat is actually the son of Rishabh-dev, who has given all these instructions to the son. And then the son fails in the next life itself, even after hearing from the dad about attachments. And then he was at that stage, but then, you know, rest is history. He got attached to a deer. So these kind of things can come at any stage, yeah. Any stage.
So, Mother, actually, Rishabh-dev was an incarnation of Lord Krishna himself. No?
Yes, yes.
So, Mataji, that means the whole universe was, Rishabh-dev was the king sometime ago.
Not of the universe. Universe has got millions of planets, yeah.
Okay.
Bharatvarsh.
So India was
the globe. Yeah, the globe.
The globe.
The globe, yeah.
So total globe was known as Bharatvarsh.
Bharatvarsh, yeah. After this King Bharat. Before that it was known as Ajnabha.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ajnabha. Thank you, Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean, Mataji, Ajnabha?
I think he was called Ajnabha because, and I don't know what is the meaning of Ajnabha, but he was called Ajnabha because at one point in time, he was ruling very nicely, and I think again he was doing some yagyas. And whenever somebody does yagyas, then Indra gets worried. So Indra wanted to do something bad to him. So Indra stopped giving rains to his kingdom, and then so that, you know, everybody will die because of lack of water. But then Rishabh-dev was able to produce water by himself, produce rains by himself, and Bhagavatam says that because of that he was called Ajnabha, like that. How that gets, you know, connected to that, I don't know. But that's what it was. So before that, it was known as Ajnabha, but after that, in the name of his son, it is Bharat Maharaj. Like that.
Thank you, Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
Mataji, I wanted to add point where you were saying to Kathy Mataji, that Kathy Mataji made a point that devotees do not care what moment they will leave their body. So then I remembered the point which you had made earlier in our Bhakti Vrksa, that you said that devotee, even if he is unable, because of the disturbances in his body, if he is unable to remember Krishna will make sure that he will remember so that he can go back to Godhead.
Exactly. And this is from the 11th verse of Ishopanishad, where it says, Vayu anilam amritam athedam bhasmantam shariram om krito smara kritam smara krito smara kritam smara. So he's saying that, you know, at the time of death, he's depicting the sentiments at the time of the death, that, you know, let my air be merged into the totality of air. So he's giving back all the elements with which his body is made up of and giving it back to Mother Nature. And then he's saying, oh Krishna, please remember all that I have done for you. because you are the ultimate beneficiary of all the sacrifices that I do. So you please remember all that I've done. And then Prabhupada says in the purport for that verse is that, even if a devotee forgets, then Krishna will remember. And somebody said it very sweetly in a lecture I heard about a couple of years ago. And he just said that, it's your duty to remember Krishna throughout your life. And it's Krishna's duty to remember you, make you remember him at the time of death. So don't worry about that. You just focus on the job in hand, and then you can take it from there. Yeah.
Mataji, what is the key to remembering Krishna 24/7? How can we do that?
Well, one way is to, Khyati Mataji is from that area. She'll be able to tell more because I haven't studied biology, but you can make mental maps there and try to connect everything with Krishna. For example, we used to do this exercise on what if I raise the price of this product by $5, right? Or what if I'm running a school, what if I raise the fee by, $100? So that's an action. So then, but there's one thought, right? And then from that thought, you will start doing multiple thoughts that will come out of that, right? So let's see how it's going to happen. So if you raise the school fee by $100, what's going to happen, do you think? What are some of the things that can happen by this one act?
Poor kids might not be able to afford it.
The poor kids might not be able to do that. Okay, so that's one thought. Okay, all right. What else?
School's profit will increase.
Okay, profit will increase.
Some people will complain.
Some people will complain, and there may be a fight or something, Mataji.
There will be a protest, right?
Protest. There will be a protest.
Happen. Okay. So poor kids won't be able to come. Profits will increase. Some will complain, and there'll be protests. And there can be many, many, many more that will come from there, right? And now then you'll take the connection we are being made, right? So if poor kids don't come to the school, what's going to happen?
Only rich kids will come.
Yeah.
Rise of illiteracy.
But if the poor kids don't go to school, what's going to happen?
There will be more children
illiteracy
who will not be educated.
Will increase, right? So you see how the mind map is happening. You're connecting, and seeing the repercussions of that. Similarly, one is, of course, you should chant, right? Surround yourself with vibrations 24/7. 24/7. Have that machine, get that machine, let it play mantra all the time in your home, right? Even when you're sleeping, the mantra will come because the mind never sleeps. Right? That's why you have dreams in the night. So surround yourself with that. And the second thing is how to remember Krishna all the time. Try to make these mental maps. Let's pick up anything and let's try to connect with Krishna. Let's do that exercise.
Writing notes from lecture.
Writing notes from lecture. See, somebody is already saturated with Krishna.
I was thinking about Vyasadeva writing the scriptures.
There you go. So you see, then you take Vyasadeva. Okay, who is Vyasadeva?
He is the devotee of Lord. He is disciple of Narad Muni. And Vyasadeva is also literally incarnation of the Lord.
He's a Shraddha-devi incarnation. Okay, so what are the other incarnations of the Lord?
There are Guna Avataras. There is,
Okay.
There are Guna Avataras. There are Purusha Avataras.
Give me names.
Okay. So Brahma, Shiva, they are Guna Avataras.
Okay.
And there are Shakti-avish Avataras. Like Srila Prabhupada is also considered as a Shakti-avish Avatara. There is the Leela Avataras like Rama, Narsimha, Varha. And there are...
Pick any one of them. Choose any one of them.
Rama.
Rama, okay. So what about Rama?
Very Maryada Purushottam. Like, he is very honest and very obedient. He always thinks of welfare of the subjects.
Do people keep Rama as the names?
Yes.
Do you know any Rama in your life?
Sorry?
Do you know
Rama in my life?
Ramananda
I was asking. Yeah. So Ramananda Prabhu. What is Ramananda Prabhu? How do you recognize?
Pujari.
Yeah. What do pujaris do?
Worship the Lord, do arti, cook for the Lord, trust the Lord.
Okay, so which lordship does Ramananda worship?
Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
How do they look? How do they look?
They look very beautiful.
Do you know what they're wearing today?
Blue, yellow.
There you go, right? So this way you see, you can constantly connect. And so next time when you see Ramananda Sakaprabhu, you'll remember this conversation that we had, right? And your mind will go into Krishna. And then you can also say, well, there'll be some certain people who are not devotees and the names are Ram. So big deal, I don't care. Because even if then when the names are called out, I always think about my Ramchandra, my Lord Ramchandra. So again, practice. Now let's go to the mall. How can you equate and how can you connect Krishna with things in the mall?
You go there for book distribution.
You go there for book distribution. Very good. Khyati, no dinner for you for next 7 days.
That is okay, Mataji. Krishna will take care of it.
Yes, last time Mataji said how Krishna sees that devotees get the prasadam.
Yes. But yeah, tell me, in the mall, how can you connect things in the mall? Tell me what all things are there in the mall.
We can get like good flowers from there to offer it to Lordship.
So when you look at flower, you can think, what are the things that you can think about flowers, right? So think about flowers. So you said you can make garlands. You can offer flowers to Krishna. What else?
Also, Mataji, from mall, sorry. Did I interrupt
Flower.
you?
We are right now on flower. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
come back to you. Yeah.
Okay.
What else can you think about flowers? You make garlands. And does Krishna talk about flowers anywhere in the Bhagavad Gita?
Patram
Yes,
pushpam
patram
phalam
pushpam.
toyam.
Yeah.
Yo
So
me
you see
bhaktya
how you can,
prayachati.
yeah. So when you go to the aisle and you see flowers, even if you're not buying flowers, you can just say Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, right? So you're constantly now associating with a transcendental vibration. You are reciting the Bhagavad Gita, right? So this way, just get into the habit of whatever you see. And then even when we're in a situation where we're feeling envious with anybody, right? We just bring in Krishna again there and we say that, Krishna created this. This is something Krishna has created. And if Krishna didn't give it to me, then I must have done something because he's capable of giving. He gives, to people like that. So it's a practice. And also stay away from people who talk about other mundane. Try to stay away, from people who talk about other mundane things. And when Srila Prabhu talks about, he gives an example of a person who was a very well, he was devotee and very dedicated devotee. And he had a near-death experience. So when at the time of death, one would think that a person who's chanting so much and doing this and that by way of devotional service, he says that some television jingle, of some advertisement came to his mind at that time. So you see how difficult it is to just remember Krishna at the time of the death. So our practice, and that was a very nice question that you asked, and that should become your goal, that how do I think of Krishna 24/7, even while I'm doing, right? And in the 8th chapter, Krishna said, did he say that in the 8th chapter? Is it the 8th or is it some other chapter that I'm missing?
What, Mataji?
About thinking about Krishna.
Yeah, it is here in this chapter only we read.
What was the verse? Tasmat?
8:15, 16, I think. It was saying that when you think of me, when you leave, you will come back to me.
Yeah.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam manusmara.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes. And what verse is that? It's verse 7, 8.7. Let me bring up that verse and show it to you here. Okay. I'm sharing the screen, and Preeti, you can read it for us since you found it for us.
Okay. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam manusmara yudhya mayarpito mano buddhir mame vaishyasya mame vaishyasya asamshayam. I'm sorry, asamshayah.
Yeah, and translation?
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Right? So he's telling me that with your mind, you always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time. So he's not telling that, you stop doing your work. He's just saying at the same time you carry out your prescribed duty. And for Arjuna, it's not an easy duty. He has to fight. So he has to be alert from all the sides and still be conscious of Krishna at that time. That'll come from suitable practice. Like that. Slowly, slowly, slowly.
Mataji, can I add something?
Mhm.
It just happened like today I was talking to Chaitanya Priya, my sister's friend, and she's very good cook. Like it just naturally comes. So she said that whenever she cooks something, she's always thinking how to make this conducive for Giraj Maharaj for his Ayurvedic diet. She's always meditating upon that. And whenever she's cooking, she always has uh, some bhajan going on, Krishna conscious bhajan going on, and she cooks like like 1 or 2 hours. So that's there. So I was thinking that maybe we should figure out like the things that we like to do and ensure that we somehow have the vibration going on. Though we just talked about that today, so it's interesting that this point came up.
Came up. Yeah, keep the vibration going all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
And in some ways, um, you will be able to focus even if you don't focus on the vibration. And again, there's a very nice example that Vaishnav Prabhu gives, is that these are transcendental vibrations, and they will have their effect on you even if you're not focusing your attention on them. What to talk of if you focus your attention, how much more it's going to be. And he gives the example of a book distribution event that happens in around July August timeframe here in San Francisco, and it's very hot over there, right? And it's hot and cold both. So we kind of ask everybody to dress in layers like that. And because it can be cloudy also, and it could be freezing cold also, and it could be hot also, like that. So once he went there, and it was all cloudy. So he said, that's fine. It was all cloudy. I don't even need anything. Didn't put on the sunscreen, didn't put on the hat and things like that. And the next day he noticed that he had got a sunburn. So even if the sun was not visible to you, the sun was still having its effect. And even if you didn't know that it was having an effect, even if you did not see the sun there, you did not perceive it, but still you got affected by the sun in an imperceptible way. So similarly, from these vibrations also, you will get affected by these vibrations in an imperceptible way. That's why make use of this technology. I mean, you just bring in your laptop, let the thing play. You just have to put it onto a player and then say endless loop, and it'll play like that. And again, I'm saying what to talk about if there are things that you that if you focus consciously on that, and in that I was just saying that sometimes it is easier to focus when you're doing manual things. For example, if you're folding the laundry, if you're chopping the vegetables, folding the laundry is a harmless thing as compared to chopping vegetables, because you still have to put some attention into the chopping, right? But folding laundry, ironing clothes, these are good times when you can run the mantra, or have a lecture playing, or somebody reading from the scripture. Play those things at that time, because then your mind can focus more on that. But if you're sitting down, you're writing an email, you're doing your office work, and then it goes into the back channel, but still it is on a channel. We have multi-channels, and we keep catching those things. So yeah, thank you for sharing that wonderful incident. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to point out here, and I'm sharing the book with you, right? Can you see it? Oh no, I stopped sharing. Okay, I'll share again. And so in this 8th chapter, you all gave me good feedback on what are the things that stuck your mind. Anybody felt left out? Anybody want to share more than that? We are good. So I just wanted to. Okay, so then Arjuna has asked many questions of Krishna, and Krishna has answered them, right? And now in the 9th chapter, we get Krishna is going to tell him the most confidential knowledge, right? And just read from, based on our discussions, you will be amazed at what this verse is saying. Anybody wants to read it aloud?
I'll read it.
Okay.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." Wow.
So what word stuck you from there? Why
if you are because you are
Released
never
from material
envious.
miseries.
Because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to
Yeah.
you this
You
confidential
see?
knowledge.
Yeah. And then also, yeah, somebody saw the silver lining. I couldn't recognize the voice, but somebody said that you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence.
Relieved of the
Not the-
miseries.
Yeah. And incidentally, Preeti Radhika, Chaitanya Priya is watching you on Facebook. So she heard her story. She said,
I didn't even know.
Hare Krishna, Jai Chaitanya. Glad to know that you're there. And of course, couple Vatwani Prabhu is also there. Please accept my Dandrat Pranams. And Divyangi Mataji jumped from Facebook onto Zoom. These kind of, things keep happening. People go from one planetary system to another planetary system. So Divyangi came from there. She's in New York, so it's a good night for her. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just touching base on the time. It's 7:15. Do you want to carry forward? Do you want to continue? What do you want me to do? You have dinner to cook?
Yes, Mataji.
Huh? Should we stop here?
8 already.
Right? Yeah. So we'll stop here today. And so chapter number 2, we will do next week. It's got to do with happiness. But I'm glad, we had a very nice exchange of thoughts and ideas over here. And we will meet again. When are we meeting?
Next.
Mataji, I realized that I am forgetting all
Tomorrow
the
morning.
we already discussed in the earlier Bhakti Vrksa. So much we are already forgetting whatever we learned.
Yeah, that's why we have to keep on repeating. Yeah. Keep in touch with them again and again. Yeah. Good
For
point.
Bhakti Vrksa, we are meeting again next Saturday, but for Bhagavad Gita class tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Pacific time. Yeah. Okay. That's very good. So I'm going to stop the broadcast and thank those of you who have been joining us on Facebook here. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindhubhya patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yeah, but I wanted those of you who are on Zoom to kind of stay back here, and I didn't want to broadcast whatever I was going to say. So what I did was that I have and Mayank Prabhu helped me. God bless him. He helped me with this. That helped me put up a little website. It's not the most of the glamorous of the websites. I just wanted something which would work, right? So I'm just going to share that here with you. Share my screen and show you that. He worked for Google, so he used Google sites.google.com to create that for us. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here I'm going to Nitya Sankirtan. That's what the website is called. And it was primarily geared up to give information related to these classes that we have and give information on, materials that we share and things like that. So he has set it up, and then I have no idea of doing all those things, but I was able to, drag and drop and put a few things like that. So I put the schedule also here. And we're having some trouble with the diacritic, so Mayank will fix or figure out something like that. So you can see the class schedule here. Like you know when the next class is happening, so that anything that you want to know about these classes that we all attend together, you just go to this website.
One correction for Bhagavad Gita as it is class every day 6:30 a.m. except Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'll edit that. And now I can demonstrate how easy is it to edit it. Okay, so we put that thing also there, and then another thing is that there's a section here for except Saturday. Oops, here. And another thing that I've done is that any of the prayers that we are doing, right? For example, what's the prayer that we are doing these days?
Panching.
Vigyapti Panchaka.
What Panch?
Vigyapati Panchaka.
Yeah, Vigyapti Panchaka, right? So things like that, any other aids that we gather to help us, then I will put those also here on this web page itself. So then on the top of the page over here, so you see there's prayers, and then I'll also have a place on frequently asked questions, and I'll have something about my spiritual master and his schedule. So I'll have something like that there. And so I just wanted to point out to you about the prayers. So there's a little something about prayers you might want to read, but why do we say prayers? And then here's the Vigyapti Panchaka, like that, you know. So when you go, I'm right now in the edit mode, so I won't be able to show you that. But again, it's very simple. All that you have to remember is Nitya Sankirtan. And is Nitya Sankirtan something that we are all doing these days?
Every day we are doing.
Yeah.
Every day, right? That's where Nitya, right? And then we continue to do that till the end. So here is where we are. And I was saying that there is reference materials are there. I will continue to populate them. So we have got prayers here. You see that? And the Vigyapti Panchaka, I have put it over here itself so that in the morning you don't have to scramble for the copy. You can just, you know, read it. We can all just read it off of here, off of this. So again, I was thinking that Varshana Mataji is doing such a good job of, she's writing the document on all the names that we see of Krishna, right? In Bhagavad Gita as they appear. So we can put those things there. So think, I will want you, it is not my website in per se, it is our website. So or think about it, how we can add things to it, you know, what you think should be hung there off of the website. And you know, it's very easy to maintain, and just one place to go there.
Mataji, thank you so much. You are taking so much care and to make the things so simple for all of us. And
thank
you to come on every day for this Nitya Sankirtan. Many of us falter. I mean, I falter many times, but every time you are there, and
I better be there, right? Otherwise, Kathy will be on the phone calling me.
Central location, Mataji.
Not the central core of this.
I will do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I will do that. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, how to open this Nitya Sankirtan? I tried to open on the phone. It is not opening.
Mataji, can we post this in our Sen Matio group?
I posted it here on the chat. Yeah. And then you can pick the baton and you can post it there. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I was also toying with is that we have Zoom and we have a limit on 100. And if we cross 100, then it'll be a happy problem to encounter. But we also just don't want anybody and everybody who's watching these things on a website to come and start joining the call. So so I might put in features like have you all wait on the call, and then I look at that, I get an indication somebody's waiting, and if I recognize them, then we let them in. And also on the website, there was a way to say, there was a link there to say watch on Zoom, or it said register to watch on Zoom. It didn't say watch on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
You publish this website because I don't see it, or at least we are not able to get there.
You want to see the website?
No. Have you published it?
We have published it. Yeah, it's published. It's very much available.
Because this doesn't copy, so I think I might have typed it something.
Okay.
Oh, okay. This is just type Nitya Sankirtan.
On the top,
Rakesh was able to do that.
It comes, but on the top it shows.
Yeah, it's coming.
I'm able to see the website.
Yeah.
I
you're
can
able to see
post
that.
it on the WhatsApp group.
You can post in the WhatsApp group. So what I'm planning to do is to only, like on that website, you will see that they only can register to watch on Zoom, which means that they will put in a request to get added. And I created a separate WhatsApp group because I didn't want to, because our Bhakti Vrksa is like, a little bit close, the inner circle kind of a thing. And when we are broadcasting to everybody outside, I wanted to have a separate WhatsApp group itself for them, right? So there'll be a separate WhatsApp group for that. I mean, you all will get added to that if you want. You can always add. So that if you click on that link, it's actually, telling you that if you want to join that WhatsApp group, and then you can join that WhatsApp group on your own, right? On your own. So it's not that we are adding people and then giving them grief by subjecting them to so many announcements and things like that. It's a WhatsApp group where only admins can post information so that we don't have noises coming there. Like that. And the credit goes to Mayank Agarwal Prabhu. He developed it and came up with the idea, etc. for that. I just put the things there. Okay.
Haribol Mataji, we are also missing Mayank Prabhu's association is not happening.
Yeah. I saw him last night. Last time I saw him there on Facebook, but I don't see him. I didn't see him today. I'm missing him. Yeah. Badly. And he could be we are also going out and not going out, but spending time on the phone and doing book distribution. And we are also coming up with the concept of ebooks. And the ebooks are, for that you also have to make phone calls. So, and he's also working on a website for that and things like that. So he's super duper busy. But so, I'm confident that he'll come.
Manasi and Suyesh did not join today.
Yeah, I will call them and ask.
Call them now and ask. Call them now and ask them to join. We're missing you.
He will arrange prasadam, Mataji, prasadam time.
Must have gone grocery shopping. Okay.
Yeah.
Mataji, you did not ask Khyati Mataji what is there for prasadam.
Khyati, you have to tell us who are the cooks for tonight.
Yes, Mataji, I am.
Still being cooked.
I'm planning to make vada, keda vada. So,
What is that?
Keda vada. So you get like plantains.
Okay.
Right? So I'm
Yes,
going
yes.
to make like a batata vada. I'm just going to replace it
Oh, okay.
with
Healthy, right? You get
experiment
iron.
on my Prabhu.
Huh?
Experiment on Krishna and on my Prabhu. I think ever since you said in the class that make something nice for him, I made like 6 things.
Wow.
And Madai, thank you so much. But I don't know whether to thank or not, because you said if we get more, then we get used to it.
The bar has been raised on you, Khyati Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
And, I wanted to add one more